Hello, I'm Josh.
I'm Josh.
And I'm not Josh, but together we are
Joshing around in air. Right,
We are successful, I thought, for such a hiatus.
Yeah, it's been a little minute.
Yeah, we remembered our lines.
Yeah, we did. When was the last podcast recording? Like probably a couple of months ago.
Yeah,
it
at
was.
least. Yeah, it's a long time.
Well,
Written a book in that time.
A lot has changed. Yeah, we actually.
Wait, sorry, what was that?
What? To be continued.
How exciting! Right. Welcome back to the podcast. Very excited to be recording once again. We have got the LGT we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about our list. We'll be talking about some of the objectives that have just come out in the scenario pack, which is very exciting. I believe Aaron from Just Roll Runs is organising it all, so that is very exciting. One of my favourite things is that he's asked in bold to bring Hawaiian shirts, which I will definitely be doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll go more on that later. Firstly, what drink are we having today, Sam? Why don't you go with that?
Right, cue me mispronouncing foreign languages again.
Oh, my favourite part. Of the podcast.
I went to Estonia over the summer for one of the most exciting journeys that I have ever been on, and this is called Vana Tallinn, and Tallinn is the capital of Estonia, and that's where I was. The most distinguished liqueur in the independent republic is probably Vana Tallinn. So, let's go. It says...
Is that what's written on the back?
I mean, what it's
probably
actually written on the back, I'm not going to try it because the language is not at all pronounced how I think it's written.
Yes. Okay.
But it says that it is made from exotic tropical spices and premium rum. The discerning connoisseur will request that it be served in crystalware with lemon slices and freshly cracked chunks of ice. So, A, good job that neither of you are. And B, ask whatever you like. You're not getting it. You want it in glass? I've got little metal shot glasses. What do you want?
No, I'm semi-distinguished.
What?
Well, it's not crystal.
I was going to say,
no
I'm
lemon.
very happy with the shot glass.
Oh,
Makes me feel like I'm back at uni.
Here we go.
That is a great sound.
That is getting a very chemical smell.
Gracias.
I'm not sure if that's a word.
Whoa, yeah. It smells like PVA glue.
I was going to say, it smells like
It's
some of the cans
PVA.
of stuff I open when decorating my house.
It is PVA on the nose.
Oh, it really is, actually.
Do you know
isn't
what
it?
I mean?
I don't know if that
feels
feels
like-
like it might be from the metal on the glass, though.
It's
I'm getting it in my glass
Oh,
as well.
no, definitely, yeah.
yeah, it smells like I'm about to start basing. Right, well, as we're about to find out in this listener question, how do you say it? Skål?
Skål.
Skål?
Skål.
Skål.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that is pleasant.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's good.
That's actually quite nice.
really is, actually, yeah. There's a lot of sweetness,
That's pretty good.
sort of caramelly. Oh, it's drinking biscuits. It's like the sort of Biscoff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting that.
That's good.
I expected that to be a sort of Jägermeister style herby liqueur, and
It's syrupy.
yeah,
Syrupy.
that is very nice.
Oh, thank you, Sam.
Thank you very much,
Oh,
mate.
brilliant! Yeah, lovely to share it with
I will
you.
enjoy sipping on that as we chat. So we have a listener question. This is from our friend Michael Malta. I assume I've pronounced that incorrectly. Hey guys, and thank you for a lovely podcast. You're very welcome, Michael. I was wondering what a romantic relationship between the king, in brackets Kuningir, and the matriarch queen would be like. And what kind of forespring would they produce? Is forespring a word? I guess it is now. Best regards, your probably 10th biggest fan, Michael, all the way from the Nordic country of Denmark. And here we go. P.S. The Norse way for a proper cheer or prost is skål, originating all the way back to the Viking ages. you can probably tell I play Nords.
Excellent.
Michael, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for...
Well, I think we've got two things to celebrate there.
question.
One, another Nords player, 'cause
Yes,
there's not many out
Finally,
there.
that's the other one.
Yeah, and 2 up to 10 fans. That's pretty impressive.
Up to 10, double figures.
Fans,
Well,
come on.
I'll drink to that.
Oh, there's a whole club going. That's pretty good.
Well, I mean, I think personality types, there's going to be some clashes going on here,
I
aren't
was
there?
thinking the same.
These are two strong alpha personalities, both just assuming their loyal following in their partner.
Yes. Because I think that in Wadroon culture, isn't it all the women do the hunting and all that kind of stuff? So there's a strong sort of...
It's a matriarchy.
It's a matriarchy. Yeah. There you go. And I think the Kuningir will probably be more on the patriarchy side. So that could be a fun... I mean, there's going to be some arguments. We can probably assume
some
that.
big ones. Big ones.
Yeah. Some big rows.
Some proper Johnny Depp, Amber Heard fights is...
Wow. Okay.
Has there not been enough time for that?
Deletes from podcast.
Oh, man. We just
that's
got an
good.
explicit tag on our podcast.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Okay, my other comparisons can be us thinking a bit, again, not age well, but House of Cards. You got, like, you know, Kevin Spacey's character.
Because that's not controversial at all.
I haven't even seen House of Cards and I get that reference.
God, do you want to say something about Jeffrey Epstein while we're at it? So anyway, back to the question. Yeah, I mean, they're also both quite physically imposing. They are. I would describe them both as chunky. That's how I describe them.
Yeah, so there's something about their stance where I expect the Coningir to be exuding his authority and presence simply by standing.
Yes.
Whereas the matriarch queen, I get the sense that she cannot sit still.
Right. Just can't sit down for 2 seconds.
I just think like a date night with the two of those would be just a little bit awkward. She wants to go out to salsa. He wants to
sit in and have a wine tasting night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I disagree. I think a date night is going to be where they bond over their love of war and bloodshed.
Oh, nice. Like, should we go out pillaging again this evening?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Oh, classic.
There you go.
I was thinking the Kungir's stance with his like foot up on a rock does look like he's about to lecture his kids about something. So, you know, maybe there's some fruit from this relationship.
Yeah.
Those are going to be some flipping wham kids.
I do think that he's going to get himself in trouble, though, isn't he? Like, he will mansplain a little bit too much for her liking. This is... I can see how it would work, but this would not be a very smooth, calming relationship.
It would be a fiery, I'm sure, probably passionate relationship.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
100%.
It's going to be, it's not a peaceful relationship.
No.
Let's say that.
Yeah, full of drama.
Full of drama. Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it would work for him. Go for it, I say.
Yeah, we wish you all the best. Matriarchy and Coningir. I tell you what, if Parabellum ever wants to go into the movie making business, I mean, this is your first rom-com. Easy. the Kuningir and the Matriarch Queen. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, and I mean, we'd got our money laid on Bone Golem.
Yeah. Yeah, you've already got 2 rom-coms to do. Actually, our first episode was literally called A Man at Arms Looks for Love. So there you go. You've got 3 solid rom-com options, Parabellum. So there we go.
I almost can't believe that they haven't been in touch with us already, begging us for the rights.
Because it's such a good idea. We just need... Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so Hollywood, if you're out there, Kevin Spacey, if you're listening, just drop us an email.
Please, Kevin Spacey.
To be honest, I hear he's not getting much other work, so he might be willing to join us.
Right, there you go.
Oh, man.
It's an off-the-wall idea. It's the sort of thing that Netflix would buy up, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there was I know Shia LaBeouf years ago had a sort of a fall from grace, didn't he? And he actually ended up acting in like a really small independent film about this like Catholic priest. It was very random, but you watch it and like the production value is so weird seeing him in like a budget film because you're so used to like the last time I saw him was in like Transformers, which was like a Michael Bay film. And so seeing him go from like, you know, being flung over Optimus Prime's shoulder to be quietly walking down a corridor, which was definitely not soundproofed. It's just recorded with iPhone audio. It's a little odd, but I think that could be our niche. We can find for.
Okay, well, Shia, if you're listening. sorry, Kevin, forget you.
Yeah. Oh man. Right, let's talk about Conquest. I think we should all go through our lists briefly and chat about them. Mm-hmm. Josh, I know you can reel yours off the top of your head, so why don't you go ahead and tell us what are you running, Josh? And yeah, go for it.
Yeah, my list is called The Fall of James Rea. I'm seeking redemption for the last two LGTs.
Yeah.
For any of you who have played D&D, I've tried to like min-max a bit here. So I've got 2 Strategos coming out. Well, they both act as lights, so I'm going to have like 2 medium blocks coming out turn 1, hopefully. And then I've got a Fallen Divinity and some Canaphores and Bucephaloi. And the idea really is it's going to be out really quickly, and then like quite a few heavies to come. Basically make sure that I reinforce my strong early position. So yeah, that's kind of the list. It's and that's my game plan. Every time, rush out early, score objectives, and then Old Dominion strong late game to ensure I keep those objectives till round 10.
Brilliant.
Oh, sounds horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. I played it so many times. I'm so fed up of it. I'm so ready for Old Dominion to be completely nerfed. Please. But all they do is they just keep nerfing my poor Ashen Dawn. What?
Boo-hoo.
Tiny
for our little corner of West London, while the whole rest of the world is like about time.
I think JB said it on the episode that we did with him. The world's tiniest violinist playing for the Ashen Dawn.
Yeah.
Sam, tell me about your list.
Yes. So I can be coy about this because I genuinely haven't chosen the full list I'm going to run, but I'm definitely going with Underspires as my sub-faction, which means the Ferromancer is my warlord, giving me regen over a bunch of stuff and re-rolling resolves. I think that is a nice way to play that I enjoy. Stuff that I'm definitely going to include is 1 big block of force-grown drones, probably 10 stands with Aura of Death. And that is going to get out early, sit on an objective, I hope, and get in the way, hold
and
things up.
Just loads of Aura of Death.
Yeah,
so much.
AOD 4, 6 stands wide, 8 stands wide if I can get that, you know.
I rolled 28 dice against Sam the other day against his Aura of Death. He had 7 stands wide against me.
Mad.
And it just, I rolled the dice and then just picked the regiment up and threw it off the table in anger.
Yeah, there you go. So hopefully I'll have some moments of that at the weekend. What else am I going to have in there? So, yeah, of course, Ferromancer will be in there. I'll have a bunch of Strix. Really like Strix. I've seen those wings flapping around on the table, and they're fun and fast. I will also definitely be having Leonin Avatara and Centaur Avatara because they are a fun little combo and gives me some nice variety in there. Probably an Abomination, maybe 2, and a block of Brute Drones as well to be able to hold an objective. Something I've not quite chosen yet is basically a trade-off between either having the Desolation Drones or having Incarnate Sentinels. The Desolation drones are nice because I can do a little combo. The Ferromancer can use his action to -1 defense. Then the Desolation drones can shoot to give another -1 defense. And then Leonin Avatara shooting with AP2 effectively gives me AP4, which against something horrible like Ashen Dawn means that I actually do some damage. And so that is a nice little combo when I can get it to work. But of course, the Incarnate Sentinels are a genuinely good unit in their own right. And so, I haven't quite thought that through yet. We'll be doing some thinking the next couple of days and probably make a last-minute decision Friday night, depending on what fits in the box.
Amazing.
So let's see.
Amazing. Yep. I mean, what's also significant about that is those, both the Ferromancy and the Desolation drones, -1 defense, is literally -1 defense. So if you have Hardened a Million, like the Fallen Divinity or Dweg, then you still, it's like -1 defense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's amazing. It's a strong list, and I'm excited to see what you decide to run last minute on Friday night.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. We'll see.
Right, well, I am currently in the process of moving house several times. So I have all of my Conquest stuff in storage apart from one box, and that is my LGT list, which I decided 3 weeks ago when I moved, because I had to make that choice then. So I have 2 Matter Squires, I have 5 stands of Longbowmen, I have Household Knights, a block of 5 of them with the Noble Lord, who is also my Warlord. So he is, making them, the Household Knights, very effective. I'm then running 2 Ashen Dawn MSUs and then 2 Crimson Tower. Not Seal Temple, which is definitely more of a meta thing these days, but I have Crimson Tower and I painted, so they're coming. And I think they're great. So I think it will be good. I know how to play it. I mean, I already know what the weaknesses are, and I'm sure we'll discuss when we talk about objectives and things. But yeah, I think overall it's a pretty decent list, and I think it can deal with most things. Right, let's chat about the scenarios for LGT. So I've just got the email through, which is very nice, with the scenario pack, so thank you, Aaron. We have 6 games planned for the day. We got the Saturday and the Sunday, so that's over 2 days. And just looking at them, I think there's only one that I'm not a huge fan of, but the rest of them are all just like solid scenarios. I think they're not too gimmicky. There's just like the standard stuff. Score some objectives, have a great time. So the first one is head to head. Actually, unless any of you had any comments just about the scenarios in general before we jump into them.
No, I've got exactly the same thing. Yeah, we don't have to be hiding numbers
dice,
under dice. Writing things on boards or anything like this.
Me and you playing that hiding the dice one the other day.
It was horrible. It was horrible. I lost the game, and you look at the score and you're like, oh, Sam, you didn't play that very well. Josh has absolutely trounced you. And he didn't beat me by playing Conquest. He beat me by guessing what number. Like that is the game. So
it's the mini game.
Rather than scoring 0, he's scoring double. Or rather than
because he was putting his dice on the one that you were guessing as well.
And it's not like, oh, he's quite good at that. He did it on an important turn. Every turn. You look at his score and it's like, how is that even possible? Like, I tell you how it's possible. He's good at guessing. That's the game.
Played a lot of Peru.
No, that is it. We may as well have not been training you Conquest
to play. What's it called? It's like it's not Forlorn Hope, is it? It's something. Foresight. That's it. Foresight.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there we go.
So dumb. Right. Okay. So the first one is head to head, which is actually head to head. The Josh, we played this in the final of the Southampton tournament, in which Josh won. Hey, Josh.
Hey.
It wasn't me. And we actually played this the other night. I like this one. Just nice and simple. So it's got 2 6-inch zones. They are each the opposite end of the board to you, on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, depending on which place you're playing. The further one is an enemy objective zone, basically meaning you can score it. The closer one is your friendly, so you cannot score it. And then on the right-hand flank, right in the middle, is a 9-inch objective zone, and that one you can both score. I think the middle one, you can score 3 VPs.
Yep.
Yeah, the 9 inches, 3
4,
VPs.
yeah.
And sorry, my microphone is not placed properly to be able to do this. And the smaller ones are worth 4 each. So it's definitely, you basically just compete for that middle one, don't you?
Yeah.
And then it's just whatever you have left fights to get to the other end.
Yeah, I think if you're scoring your 6-inch objective, it's because you've won.
Yeah. You've beaten the rest of the army. Yeah.
An interesting strategy on this one. I'm not suggesting that you should do this. I'm looking at you to correct my maths on this. If you were to send your entire army after that little 6-inch one, because it's worth more points, is there anything?
I tried to do that against Josh and lost.
Yeah, but it's Josh, though, isn't it? If you did it against
yes,
me,
it is
you'd
Josh.
win.
I know what you're saying. I think it's because it's so close to you as it is the defending player. It's so easy just to hold you up from scoring that with a few regiments.
Yeah.
You could send 2 regiments down there, put them in a line, and you'd still waste 2 or 3 turns trying to get to that thing, regardless of if it was like militia bowmen or like Foursquare and drones. You know what I mean? Like it's...
So even Strix wouldn't... You'd need to get onto their turn 2 with a lucky supremacy roll and then survive it long enough for an abomination to run up quick or something.
Yeah.
So that could work, actually.
There you go. Maybe that's a strat. Yeah.
I do think the Biomancer making lights mediums is a way where a few Spires players with Strix could legitimately steal it for turn 2 or something. But yeah, you do
would be hilarious.
You do also get
Just
some
fly
for
over
killing
stuff.
regiments.
Oh, yeah,
so
that
it's
makes
not
this a good
just like getting the 4 is helpful, but yeah, I think generally it's very hard work to get that one up the left flank. You often fight over the one in the middle and you want to kill a few more regiments.
I'd say it's interesting as well, the killing things dynamics. I think there's 2 points for a warlord, 2 points for a character, and 2 points for a regiment. So you killing things is like, it's a strange thing because you don't play it like that. You don't play to kill regiments. You still play for the zones. But that's almost decided in the list building, where you're like, right, am I playing an elite army or am I playing like a more horde army? And obviously, if you're playing a more horde army, you automatically have a disadvantage on this and the other one, which is melee, in which you score for regiments. And actually, that is also on this roster. So yeah, it's an interesting one. You don't necessarily. I wouldn't say, oh, I'm going to go and kill that regiment to get this many VPs. And maybe I'm wrong for this, but my first thought is still about the objective zones and what I'm doing with those. Right, let's go on to the next one. Divide and Conquer. That's number 1, isn't it, actually? Let me roll up to that. Okay, so Divide and Conquer, you've got a bunch of zones. You've got, basically, for this one, it's like head-to-head, but it's like mirrored. So you've got that middle, you've got 2 middle zones instead, and you've got 4 kind of zones that are on either side, but again, you can only score the further one away from you. So, again, in this one, the way I play it is, you've also got 2 objective markers, they are also on the further end, so you have to do some work to get to them before you kill them, because the one that's closest to you is friendly.
Yeah.
And so you basically play for these 2 central objective zones, is the way I'd look at it, is that you're looking to score those, and if you can score those, you've outscored your opponent. Great, no problem. You probably want to be making a push for either of the 6-inch objective zones further away, just to sort of make your opponent be thinking about stuff. And hopefully you can make a play to actually score that for a couple of turns, because that may make a difference. But again, you're in a situation where if you're scoring that back zone, it's because you've won the game, because you've defeated most of the enemy.
My only comment on what you said there is there being 2 objectives you can go for on the far side of the board, either side.
Yeah.
Does, against some lists, make it a bit easier for you. So like Dweg gun lists that typically castle and take up like kind of 2/3 of the board.
Yeah.
It's relatively hard for them to protect both of the back objectives. So I think that's the only difference, or not the only, but a big difference between this and head-to-head is you do have to spread yourself a bit thinner, because 6 objectives, like you've got to defend both your back ones in each corner while also trying to pick which one to go for there. I think you've got to be a lot more careful with how you deploy your troops. Yeah, because if they get onto a back one, they could really run away with the game.
Yeah. You get a lot of points for those back ones. I think the only other thing I'd say about that is, yes, but you can see stuff coming a mile away. So if you're going to send a medium down there, so you'd be able to score later in the game, like for me I could see that and then go, right, I mean, it's going to take you 3 turns to get here, even if you're something like Strix. Maybe 2, let's be real. But Strix don't score, so there you go. So pretty much most mediums will take a couple of turns to get down there. So you think, I can see this coming a mile away. But your point still rings true, especially with Dweg, because generally they're more elite armies. So if you now have to take a unit of Fireforged away from your castle's going to be way less effective than it was before. So yeah.
Also for lists like yours with a lot of heavies, although
having to commit an Ashen Dawn feels horrible.
But also because often you're a bit slower onto the board, like you're still bringing stuff on turn 4, maybe even turn 5 if you roll unlucky. You really can put a unit, and although they can see what objective you're going for, it's probably too late for them to change where they've put their troops. So you might be able to commit 2 troops to one side, and there's nothing they can do about it. And they can see you coming, but they know you've got 2 heavies that they just have no answer
tower
for.
down there or something. Yeah, that could be cool. Well, there you go. So if you're listening to this, watch out, because I'm coming for that back objective. Cool. Next one is Declined Flank. So this is scenario 2 on the packet. So you've got a million zones. You've got 6 6-inch zones, and they're kind of checkerboarded across the middle of the board. But you've got 3 closer to you and 3 further away. And so they're not as pronounced in how far away they are than the friendly and unfriendly objectives, because they're all neutral. And so for this one, this is a little bit... is this one a little bit gimmicky? What does it say? Then this, yeah, it does. At the end of each supremacy phase, the first player chooses one of the 6-inch objective zones. Then the second player does the same. The second player cannot choose the same objective zone as the first player. Until the end of the rounds, players do not gain victory points for seizing the objective zones. So basically, you just pick one and go. You can't have that.
But it's done in the open, so you don't get silly Perudo.
Out of all the gimmicks, I think it's the least annoying one, because it just makes sense. So yeah, you just do that beginning, you say, don't score that. Again, this one is, you really want to get your, from my perspective, you definitely want to get your castle up. You'd want to take over, I am fully riffing off of Mass's video on Conquest scenarios. This is a classic one where you just want to take over 2/3 of the table. And so you just hold on to more objectives than your enemy, ignore 1/3 of them, and you'll be fine. If you score 3 of them, probably you want to score 4, you'll be having a pretty good time.
Yeah.
So you score your closest 3, and then gun for one a little bit further away, and then happy days.
Well, there we go. That one's easy. Then we're all winning that one then, presumably.
Yeah.
Hopefully. You just got to, I think, as you say, you got to go for quite a few of this one.
Yeah.
And you got to hope you got a list with enough kind of mediums or good scoring units.
Yeah. My list is going to struggle with this one, I think, because I've only got a few scoring regiments and I really want them to do stuff. Because my scoring regiments are Ashen Dawn, which actually are probably the best objective scorers because they're happy to sit on an objective and defend it. You've got Crimson Tower and Household Knights, which I just want to charge into stuff. That's going to be like sitting them on an objective is going to feel quite bad, but I'm just going to have to accept that. So yeah, I'll probably struggle on those.
A nice size 2 AP2 set of Avatar.
Sit them on an objective and just pop over some shots. Effectively AP4. Someone
They are perfect.
Someone
for
get
that.
rid of this guy.
Having a medium that can shoot to sit on your objective and shoot at people on the other objectives is so nice.
Yeah.
Because having a big 200-point heavy regiment sit back on an objective and no one attack them is horrible.
Well, also, Sam, I know you're not running them, but the marksman clones are perfect for this as well, because they've got arcing fire, so they can shoot over stuff. Now, I know you don't really want to do that,
and nice long range as well.
Super long range.
That is how I used them in last year's LGT.
Because
their job was get onto an objective zone and then arcing fire. Oh, it used to be 28 inches. I think that's come down to 20 or something now.
Because longbowmen were 30.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary.
And they're already a little bit challenging now, aren't they? So.
Yeah, even at 24 inches, yeah. Cool, right, next one. We have grind them down. I feel like there's, in every war game, there's always a grind them down. But there's definitely one in 40k. I have no idea how that works. Maybe it's similar, maybe it's nothing to do with this. So let me just find it. Grind them down is number 12. There you go. It's the last one in the packet. So this has one 9-inch objective zone in the middle. And then next to it, on either side, are two 6-inch objective zones kind of fanned out next to them. So this one is, let me just check, has no friendly render. Yeah, okay. So this one has a little bit of a gimmicky thing. I think it's basically where you need to choose a zone that has no friendly regiments on it, and then you basically go, I'm going to go for that one, and if you score it, you get double points.
Yeah.
So if you've got no friendly regiments on it, so basically all that means is that at the end of the game, once all is said and done, you just do a victory point generation thing where you just jump one of your regiments back and forth between the two objective zones and just score extra points.
I quite enjoy this scenario. I think every time I've played it, because you've got that movement thing, there's a natural shifting round of the objective of the regiments on the table, so you don't end up with that sort of just sitting status quo where you hit turn 4, turn 5, and effectively everything is as it's going to be for the rest of the game, and then it's just a case of sort of who's going to last the longest.
Sure.
Had some really interesting ones. I think against Chris, our arch nemesis, I remember him moving sort of a big block of bone golems or something and ending up the entire army sort of shifting around clockwise around the centre of the table to sort of change where all of the action was. So yeah, could be a fun one. But like the earlier objectives, basically, if you can get that centre objective, that's going to be the solution. Really.
You're pretty happy, yeah.
You're going to get your ones closest to you.
Yeah, I mean, you want to do a little spearhead, don't you? Not spearhead, I guess. Actually, again, you want to choose a side and go, right, I'm going to push for my own one, and then I'm going to actually try and really push to get the enemy one. But then on the other side, the flank that you don't choose, you just go onto the closest one and just defend that.
Yeah.
And then you obviously push as much as you can into the 9-inch zone. So yeah. And I think, look, it depends on your army, it depends on how many regiments you've got, but I'd say that's more what you're going for there.
This is definitely, as you guys said, if you manage to wipe your opponent or at least decimate their army, this is one where you can really run away on points. You just get like 4 turns at the end of you bouncing back and forth, and suddenly you're a really high scorer.
Great. Our penultimate game will be Maelstrom.
Well, possibly the last game, because it is 5 games with a possible 6th.
I think for me, who's managed to finish in 8th place every time that I have played an LGT, and I'm expecting to do exactly the same this time, or possibly a little worse with more people, I think this will be my final one. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Sam, you shouldn't speak that over yourself. I believe Sam. The AOD full square and block will succeed. Okay, so this one is Maelstrom. It is 3 objective zones. You've got a little 6-inch in the middle, and then on either flank in the middle of the board, you've got 9-inch zones. So nice big ones. So with this one, it does have a little bit of a funky thing where it switches between scoring more points for the middle one and then scoring more points for the outside ones. So that does switch round. In my games, I haven't really played it like, oh, I need to get this one this turn or whatever. I think sometimes situationally it does come up, but in general, I feel like you play them as I just want to score these zones. Because if you score them for a certain amount of time, it generally evens out that you will score the right amount of points.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that middle one is pretty important to get, because on the turn that one scores more, you actually get the most amount of points for that one. Because I think it splits the extra points across the two side ones. So I think the middle one you can score four on the turn that's worth more. But then the outside ones you can only score three. Yes. So you can only score 3. So actually getting that middle one is pretty good.
I think this is, like, as you were saying earlier, like, it's a good one for castling. Like, really, this one, as you said.
Pick a side.
You want to take 2 out of 3. If you get 2 out of 3 for most of the game's yours.
Yeah. Is there a scenario in which you could almost let your opponent have the middle one and go from the outside and try and kind of pincer them in and put a load of pressure that way?
Feels dangerous to me, because you could just end up with them doing the castle maneuver, and then it's basically 2,000 points fighting against 1,000 of your points. So they're quite likely to win that battle. And so even though you've got 1,000 coming in on the side, they're probably going to be able to cope with your attacks, and so they're just going to take the game. It feels like choosing one side, making sure you score that and then trying to get the middle one. That's the way to do it. I just look at all of these scenarios and I can quite easily see reasons why I'm going to lose. Because I think, I'm relatively fast moving. I could probably get up, position myself well. I could probably use my Strix as a bit of a shield and get in and score 2 zones turn 3, hold it for a bit. Then I'll die by turn 6. That's what tends to happen with me. And so I'll probably, at the time that my army gets wiped out, I'll probably be ahead on points on this scenario.
Nice.
And I'll lose.
Yep.
That is how I'm expecting this one to go for me. I don't do well on small numbers of zones.
Sure, you want more. That's fair. Okay, well, then you'll like this one, because this is this last one, which is the possible 6th game, is melee or whatever you want to pronounce that as. So this one is 2 big 9-inch objectives on the flanks, and then in the middle you have 2 6-inch objective zones. They're like slightly skewed to the left and the right, but one is closer to you, one is closer to your opponent. And so you just gain points for seizing those zones. You gain two VPs for the small 6-inch ones that are close to you, and then you gain 3 VPs for the large 9-inch objective zones. You get additional VPs if you're seizing 2 or more. And then this one is another kill point scenario like head-to-head. So it's 2 points for the Warlord, 2 points for the enemy character stand, and 2 points for the enemy regiment. So this one is actually slightly different in the sense that in head-to-head, you can only score the Warlord once, whereas in this one, there's no stipulation for that. So if you're playing against 100 Kingdoms, you can potentially get another 2 extra points on top of your opponent because they have 2 Warlords. Again, I think it's basically just pick a side, go for those. I think you just completely ignore one of the 9-inch zones on the slide, and you go for that center, try and hold the 6-inch closest to you and whichever 9-inch you choose, and then make a play kind of out of that smaller 6-inch into the other 6-inch and kind of go from there.
Yeah, it feels like there's a conservative approach to that, which is the one that is closer to you plus the 9-inch that's closest to that one.
Yeah.
And then hope to just extend out, if you're lucky a little bit on a supremacy, just to be able to shift out over onto the other little one. But if you do the one that's closest to you and the 9-inch that's further away, higher risk. But if you are able to hold that, then you've effectively built your castle across 3 of the 4. And then if you're in that position, a bit more difficult to break, and you've taken advantage of it. So, interesting one as well.
Yeah.
It's a nice mix.
Oh, it's great. I like the fact there's lots of objective zones.
Yeah.
There's like a few out there where there's like just 2 zones and stuff like that, and it can become I think a bit stalematey with, you can just kind of push for one each. I like that these have got lots of different ones. I like there's a good mix as well of stuff where regiments count, regiments don't count, friendlies and all that. I think it's going to have a nice variety to each game, which I think will be really nice.
Yeah, especially on a longer tournament, you don't want to get bored by just playing non-interesting stuff. So I do get why Parabellum have made the ones that are a little bit more gimmicky, because it kind of just, especially for these tournaments, it can make things feel a little bit fresher, I guess. So I think that all sounds really good. I'm looking forward to it. I think for my list, I'm probably looking for less objective zones, because I obviously am a more elite army, and so I want to be able to take control with less regiments. At the same time, I'm also, not as disadvantaged on those ones with more, like melee, for example, where it's got 4 objective zones, even though, because it's a kill point scenario. And because it's a kill point, I've only got 8 regiments, so I'm not that fussed about kill points. Like, great, I will score more than you, even if you kill my whole army. What about you guys? How do you feel? What are you anticipating? What are you planning for? What do you feel like your lists are how they're going to do? I mean, Sam, you already talked a little bit about that, but I guess, how do you feel your list would perform?
Yeah, I'm happy that of the 5 that are sort of part of the main tournament, that 3 of the 5 have got lots of objective zones on them. That sort of favours a list with lots of activations, which mine probably is going to end up having. Yeah, and it looks like there's a relatively straightforward approach to each game. Pick a side, try and get as far as you can up the board. Okay, my little brain can cope with that. I think that my army can deal with it well enough. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think we've just really enjoyed going to LGT the last few years. Looking forward to seeing people, playing some of familiar faces, hearing the stories from Chaos.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to be a great time. And last year I won a drum beast, and so I'm on a bit of a roll.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I like lots of objectives. I've got, I want to say 8 regiments, and 7 of them are mediums. So yeah, anything in my list can score any objective, which I like. And I've got a couple of Legionnaires with Vanguard, which means they can move up 17 the turn they come on, which for 2 of those scenarios gets me onto a scoring objective the turn they come on, which is really nice. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think my list is going to do, it's going to do all right with those.
Josh, this is your year to win.
I just want to beat James. Look, James, if we have 5 games and we don't play each other and a 6th game isn't required, I'm challenging you to that 6th game, okay?
It's throwing down the gauntlet.
I'm throwing it down.
And as a man who is definitely into LARPing, I'm sure he can appreciate that metaphor more than the rest.
Yeah, and in case there's any sort of confusion, James, that was Rob speaking there.
Oh, what a throwback. Love it. Great. Well, I'm really looking forward to LGT. All 3 of us will be there, so we're aiming to get this episode out before LGT, so hopefully you can listen to this on your travels down in the car, or on the train, or whichever transportation you may choose to use. Unicycle, there's no judgment here.
Maybe not train though. Elizabeth Line's cancelled this weekend.
Oh, that's a good point.
Which I think every year there's been some sort of train strikes on the weekend of LGT. It's mad.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And bring your Hawaiian shirts. I'll be wearing mine. Josh, we may make a little stop off to ensure that you have one on the way.
Definitely.
Sam, I'm expecting you to wear one as well.
I think I'm going to come in a full 3-piece suit.
If you do that, I will be so happy.
That would be amazing.
It's on the podcast now, so you have to do it.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Oh dear. Right, well, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you at LGT.
Woohoo! See you there.
See you there.
Yeah, the boys from the west, they're the best, no test. Strolling down the lanes in their gaming quest. Miniatures painted fine, tabletops their shrine. With every role they claim, a conqueror In pubs they forge alliances, never face defeat. Gifts they trade with pride, brotherhood implied. New drinks they taste, adventures amplified. We're joshing around in our raising high our flags. Toast to the kings, no moment drags. Armored hearts, but camaraderie's clear. In the storied battles, their laughter you'll hear. Shared in victory and in a rare loss. United they stand, no matter the cost. On tabletop fields, their legends are born. With brushes and dice, their bonds are sworn. From West London's heart, these warriors true, crafting their armies in shades of every hue. They march through the realms in Conquest grand tale, where knights and beasts meet, their friends